What's up, Wilkes fam? I'm going to pull up my Pro Tools session of my song Better Than I Was, and I'm going to show you exactly what is in this joker. I wrote this one as I recorded it, so it's a little bit different than a lot of my stuff where I write it on acoustic and then record it later. This one, I was making the track as I wrote it. If you haven't heard this song somehow, go listen to it immediately. You can pause this, go listen to it, and then come back to this. There's not a whole lot going on in this song. The cool thing about Better Than I Was is the guitar hook in this song, obviously, is this thing. Funny thing about that is, typically I would record my acoustic guitars with this Warm Audio WA-47 or this Warm Audio WA-14. But this song, I had a voice memo in my phone of kind of a lick idea, and I pulled it into Pro Tools as a reference and looped it so that I would have something to track to, but then it had such a thing going on with it that I ended up just keeping it. So this is the voice memo, the original voice memo idea as this guy right here. This is literally what I did in my phone when I had the idea for this lick. It's funny because if you put headphones on, you listen close, you can hear this kind of woofy, like woo, woo, woo sound right there. That's me doing this with my foot while I'm recording this, because I wasn't really recording it. I was just putting an idea down. And then down here, as you can see, I have a sniff all the time. I'm allergic to everything. I have I'm constantly congested. I'm constantly congested, and I always have a whistly thing in my nose. You can hear it right there, right here. So there's all kind of stupid stuff in here that typically wouldn't be in something that I would actually put in a record, but it had this cool vibe about it because I played it in my living room with some high ceilings, and something about the iPhone compresses it a weird way, and it had a vibe. So instead of re-recording it, I just looped it, committed it, and did a little bit of EQ. I did some EQ and some compression. I put a de-esser on there and a little more EQ. And that's what it sounds like. And of course, to make room for the vocal in the verse, I automated all of the low end out of it. So when it gets to the verse, it gets a little more tucked out of the way. It's pretty much all mids right there in the verse. And I really like to automate reverb. So there's a big reverb jump right there, and going into the break. So other than that little bit of processing, it's literally the acoustic from my voice memos, and it's way cooler than it should be. Moving on, there's acoustics. What all I don't even know what all these are. Let's see. So when the first chorus comes in, something else happens. What is that? I named it Acoustic Air. So that paired with this, basically just to add another element to the chorus that lives up here. And that's where the chorus breaks. That's where that big drum fill is. Then at the end, going into the break, there is a reverse acoustic. So I pulled something from somewhere on one of these acoustic tracks and I reversed it. What is this? There's another acoustic on verse 2. What is this guy? So there's another hard right panned acoustic, just so that when you get into verse 2, if your ears are getting bored of the song, there's something else that's happening. So as this guy fades back in verse 2, once it gets back to full volume, this guy comes in. Before going into chorus 2, this junk happens again. So that's all the acoustic elements. At the end, yep. What is that? How did I end this thing? Oh, that's the down chorus. Originally, I had it ending on this, but I took it out, so it would just end on the word you. So, moving on down, we've got some pianos. I break my pianos up into right hand and left hand so I can mix them better and make them real big and wide and put them where I want. I also treat them a little differently. As you can see, this one has, that's the left hand. It has a couple different EQs on it because it was, I guess, boomy probably. Oh, this is the vibe shift. So obviously I hadn't been in this session in a long time. I can't remember hardly even what's going on. We're kind of living it again for the first time at the same time. So this song, one of the things that people have commented on that they really like about it a lot is it comes out of complete left field on the bridge. It comes from this big chorus vibe. Change my ways, now I am not the man I was before. It completely shifts gears right here. It goes into this kind of cinematic orchestral sounding section, which I like to think is kind of a what would Queen do kind of moment. So the piano by itself sounds really pretty. It was hard for me to justify putting more instruments in there because I really like the way this sounds by itself. Obviously, I really subdued that left hand. Then it just repeats. So the strings that start to come in this section, I probably should have started from the beginning of the song instead of going straight to the bridge, but we're going top down track wise just because that's how my brain works, I guess. So halfway through that, these strings come in. Those are called pizzicato? I don't know, something like that. So those are kind of going in the background at the same time as these legato violins and cello. There's a lot of volume automation right there. If you don't know what automation is, it's just where you basically turn the volume up. Audio guys are gonna be like, no, it's not, it's gain. But that's pretty much what it is. So I'm making it louder and softer to make it sound more human because these are fake. I built them on this keyboard. That's the orchestra or the string vibe that comes in over the top of this piano. It's really subtle, but I like subtle things. And of course, scroll on down. What is this guy? Oh, I like this thing. This is a pad. I don't remember how I made this, but I made it with a synth of some sort, and then I put a buttload of reverb on it, and I printed it. So you can't see any of the processing I did on it. But it's just this sizzly. That sounds like a voice. Maybe I sung something. I don't know what that is. All that's on it though is this delay that makes it wide. So if you're wearing headphones right now, it's a little more narrow. And that's a preset that I saw where Reed Shipping uses this to make things wide. So I stole it and made a preset, and it just makes it stick out to the sides a little bit more. I'll show you. So here's the. Turn that back down to where it was. Without that widener on it, or that delay. Kind of sits in the middle a little bit, but with that on it, it pushes it out here. What is that? That's reversed stomp. All right, so that's the bulk of the bridge. There's obviously the vocals come in. One thing that I do a lot, that a lot of producers, a lot of engineers do, is record an octave down vocal, which is this guy.
You wouldn't recognize me.
All it does is just puts a little bit of a bed underneath the lead vocal and makes it a little fuller. You probably can't even hear it. What is this guy? What is this one?
Before you wouldn't recognize me.
That's just a bunch of effects, I think.
Before you wouldn't
So that's just a double, a vocal double with extra delay on it, basically, is all that is. Oh, that happens throughout the song. You know what? We're going to come back to vocals. I'm getting distracted here. So, that's the piano all the way down to the strings. All these should be a different color, so I know when I'm getting down to something else. For instance, I would have known that this is more strings. What are these guys? Oh yeah, these are cool. So, verse 2, again, just so your ears, in case your ears get bored, I put these in there. So this is...
I don't know how you broke through the walls.
I just lost my light. Let me see what's going on with this light. I don't know what that is about. I thought I was getting attacked by ghosts there for a second. So anyway, these strings in verse 2 are these staccato. This little staccato string line, and then this guy. Again, all these are all fake strings, of course, because I can't play strings, and I definitely can't pay nobody that can play the strings, so I have to just do it myself. So, with the strings in there, you can see how the vibe gets a little vibier. This is the beginning of verse 2 without the strings.
I don't know how you broke through the walls I built around every inch.
With the strings, it's so much cooler.
I don't know how you broke through the walls I built around.
Then where the legato ones come in.
I don't know how you found me, but I couldn't care.
There's that
when
acoustic
you're around me.
bing, 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 with the strings in there.
I don't know how you found me, but I couldn't care when you're around me.
So I like to make sure I build things that interact with each other in a cool way. So while these staccato strings are going on the left, well, they're down the middle now. But that's where that verse 2 guitar comes in. So that bum bang bum bang bum bang bum bang is at the same time as so it kind of makes this little jumpy rhythm thing it's contributing to the groove, but it's outside of the groove. Then let's get on down here. These crashes should be down there with the drums, but for some reason they're up here in the wrong spot. Let's look at all these keys. What's going on with these keys? So this is just a little suitcase piano. What's going on there? I guess I left that in there because I don't know why I left that in there. I don't know that I meant to do that, but whatever. So, just a little suitcase piano, and it has, obviously has some delay on it, which again is just vibe. It's like block chords.
Quick to fight.
That delay makes a big difference.
I never back down, no silver lining. Eternally.
And I'm pretty sure that's the same vibe. The whole song. Yeah, so there we are at the chorus. It just has an extra higher note on it. That's all it is. Got these string plucks. So the verse string plucks are very subtle. I thought it was going to be, when I built them, I thought it was going to go bum, 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 bum. And obviously I ended up automating down the bum, bum, and just kept the bum, bum. It's very backgroundy, but again, it's one of those things that after you've heard the song 25 times, you might notice this and you haven't noticed it before, and it makes it a little more interesting.
I was a loner.
Barely here.
Never grow up, kid in the corner.
So what that's doing is that's mimicking a little thing on the acoustic. Boom, boom, that part. Boom, boom, dum, 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 and then and then these do the bum, bum. So there's bum, 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 and bum, bum, bum at the same time. So it's just basically accenting a little bit of that lick. Barely. You have to really listen for it. So those are cool, I guess. And then
I was alone.
yeah, they just keep happening. Now we're down to the fun stuff. Let me get all these. This is all the percussion. I was a drummer first when I started playing drums when I was 6. So I really like drums. Let's see. So here's the chorus. So the big thing that everybody loves about the drums on this thing is this drum fill right here. So the funny thing about it is these drum sounds aren't repeated anywhere in the song. So that snare drum's not used again, that kick drum's not used again. Those exact drum sounds are only used in this loop, this little loop drum fill. So that makes it even more, I mean, the song already drops out. Every time you see when this happens, all the instruments are cutting out. So it's already a dramatic departure. But without having any of the sounds repeating, without using this kick as the kick and this snare as the snare, it makes it even more left field. So you can hear the out of context of the actual track, you can hear how stark difference, how much of a difference there is between drum sounds in these sections. So big fill, completely different snare. Take those hooks out. Obviously, there's just a big fat kick. The kick starts going four on the floor halfway through the chorus. So the first part of the chorus. The second part of the chorus goes full 4 on the floor, with still got the little stutter guys. With this big kick, enforcing the downbeat on a few measures. Then they got a big, or a pretty small snare compared to that guy. And there's no toms except for in those fills. Again, just to make it as left field as possible. Then you've got these guys. So that is, I was hitting something. I might have been hitting this. I don't know. I was hitting something with something. I don't know. I didn't label it. I labeled it loop, so I have no idea what it is. Then, of course, there's just a little tambourine over here. I'm going to move this. See, this should have been up here the whole time because none of this is drums down here. I'm a messy idiot. So, in context, all those drums with all the other stuff sounds pretty cool.
You came along and
And then we've got this. What is this guy? We got this is a what is this? A Rhodes or something? Oh no, it's just a weird synth. So this is another one of those things you probably haven't necessarily heard because it's not supposed to be heard. It's just adding to a vibe. So now that you know that it's there, it contributes in this way. Let's hear it without it, just because.
you came along and
You can hear that other keys thing going boom, 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 but this with that little swimmy vibe adds to it a lot.
You came along and I changed my way.
You can only hear it poke its head up a little bit here and there. Then, of course, we have these hooks. Little hook, which mimics the change my ways part. It's funny because it sounds Oriental or Japanese or something. That's not even technically in. There's a note in there that's not right, but it sounds cool. And then I pitch shifted it down. And together they sound like this. Sounds a little goofy by itself, but in between these vocals, it sounds awesome.
Changed my ways. Now I am not the man I was before. I'm better than I was.
You can see everything is a harsh cutout going into that. I did not mean to pull those up. Those are the reverb sends. But everything going into that cuts out so that the only thing that happens is that big drum fill, so that it sounds more dramatic. Everything sucks out and then explodes back in, and it makes it really interesting. Here's an 808 that happens in the chorus. What is this? So there is there's a fake bass, which is a fake Rickenbacker in Contact. It is this guy, and it's just playing the root notes, and it's cutting off harsh because of the groove right here at the top. And then when the 808's in there, it just gives a bigger bottom end. Those 808s are pretty much all sub frequencies. And before it turns around, cut out, then the bass doesn't cut out anymore. Which makes the second half of that chorus really driving and really big. I did have a real bass right here, but I muted it because the vibe was not right. But a real bass comes in only in verse 2, and there's a little piece of it I forgot to delete. Whatever, who cares? So verse 2, it has this guy come in. That's just I think that's my jazz bass. I have a 72 Fender Jazz, so it's not a lot of bass on it. For one, because it's a jazz, and two, because it's played way up in the neck, obviously. Pretty sure I didn't even know what I was doing. I just hit record and kind of screwed around. Yeah, it's kind of meandery, but it adds a vibe on that second verse.
I don't know how you broke through the wall.
Oh, and I've got it panned a little left.
Every inch of my heart trying
That's
to
cool.
hide my scars from you.
So it occasionally matches up with those other licks, but then meanders by
I
itself.
couldn't care when you're around me. You helped me to see in me.
So
I couldn't care.
again, just a vibe addition. I've never panned a bass 64 to the left before, but that's cool. I guess I thought it was a good idea then, and now I think it's a good idea now because it's weird, and I like weird stuff. Let's see what this is. Another pad that's out of place. Nope, we already looked at that. But at the end, did I ramp that up? Yeah, everything ramps up real big into that down chorus. Let's look at some guitars. Somebody should get them all soloed here. I don't think there's. Again, I should have deleted all this mess, but I didn't because I was in crazy mode trying to get this done quick before all my ideas left. Okay, so going into the second verse, there's no guitars anywhere until second chorus. There's no guitars until chorus 2, because again, the song needs to build, and in case you're getting bored, you will get unbored when you hear new stuff. So the second chorus has the guitars added, and they are doing, we'll come back to that thingy. So there's Diamond over here. Then there's those two guys I tracked separately so that I could mess with the verb trails. So those are panned left, and then there's the diamonds on the right. Told you I got a perpetual sniff. Sorry if it annoys you. It annoys my wife. And then we'll come back to those because those are my favorite. Going into this second chorus, as I told you, everything sucks out, really dramatic, and comes back in on that chorus 1, which is what makes that drum feel so cool. But on the second chorus, going into it, I needed it to be a little more than just the drum fill, but not much. So all it is this drum fill as usual. But then there's this guitar, just scraping. And there's a couple more scrapes. So those are also left. So there's left scrapes. Then there's these guys on the right. Then there's these guys on the right. So it kind of goes, makes all these weird little scrapey noises. Here's them just by themselves. But in context, it adds a really cool, strange vibe, and that's what I like.
But I can't believe you do. You came along and I...
So those are the guitars. One cool thing, those crashes that are way up here that shouldn't be up here. Typically going into a chorus, you have some big old crashes like this. Or more like these guys. Here's some big ones. And then, what is that one? A verb crash. So that's a crash where I just put a bunch of verb on it and then filtered it down so it goes. So there's that. Anyway, most of the time going into a big chorus, as you shouldn't, I can't talk. Going into chorus 1, you'll notice there is 0 crashes. So there's no cymbals whatsoever, or hi-hats or anything. There's actually no hi-hats in this song. It's just those couple weird loops. But going into chorus 2 is the first time the cymbals happen. But I make them, they're samples that I just flew in here, so I didn't actually play them. But I made them sound choked. So they just go psst. And then here, they do a double choke. Psst, psst, psst. So they're very choky to mimic how I showed you earlier that the bass is cutting in and out because that drum groove is so, I don't know, so tight and kind of scatterbrain sounding, so the cymbals needed to match basically.
Came along and
But when everything goes full on the floor in the second half, there's this reverse of that verb crash into a crash that is not choked. Then they choke again. So it's, if you were actually playing this on drums, you would probably be pretty frustrated at me because there's fills out of nowhere and weird choked cymbals and things. It probably wouldn't be the most fun song to play on earth. But anyway, those choke cymbals contribute to a lot of the vibe. And then on the last chorus, there's bigger ones because it's the last chorus and needs to be bigger. And they're not choked. These are. That one's not. So, and then of course there's a swell into the end. Let's look at these vocals. So the vocals, here's the lead vocal.
I was a loner, a never grow up kid in the corner, and I didn't.
Just has a little bit of a wide reverby thing on it. I mean delay.
A quick to fighting.
Then there's the
I
octave
never
down.
back down, no silver lining.
And the chorus.
You came along and I changed my ways. Now I am not the man I was before. I'm better than I was.
There's so there's some of the verb. Which verb is that? No, that's the delay. Had automated the delay up. There's more delay in the chorus. There's more of that. I have all my buses labeled very stupid things. There's some echo. There's some verb. There's some plate, Valhalla shimmer, and some more reverb. So without getting too specific, those things are all automated in different ways throughout the chorus. And I automated that off because it has a hiss. But here,
And I was before
this is going into that bridge instrumental.
you.
Just to air out the end of it,
Better than I was
of you.
before you.
There's a little bit of a reverb trail that automates up. Then there's more reverb.
The me
It's a lot wetter
before you wouldn't
on the bridge.
I'm
And here
better
at the
than
end,
I was before you.
I automated it down a little bit to make it drier at the end. So, let's put this back. There's the vocal, the lead vocal, the down, octave down vocal. There's, I don't know what this is because I'm horrible at labeling again. I don't know why I do this. This looks like a,
You.
that's a weird sounding double that I've printed at some point. There's more than one in there, but that's a double of the lead.
You.
Then there's one that's pitch shifted down to some, with some weird vibe with a decapitator on it, which is just saturation to give it a vibe, and it's punish mode. And then it has a doubler
You.
just to add a weird texture. These guys
You.
is a simple harmony part. This is a double of the you part, but it was flown in the gaps. And so that's basically an echo track. That's where the little echoey things happen. What are these guys? That sounds, here, let's turn all these on without the lead vocal so you can hear what all's going on. Echo verse 1,
Quick to fighting,
harmony,
no silver lining.
harmonies.
I don't know how. The walls I built around every inch of my heart, trying to hide my scars from you.
Yeah, just a bunch of, not a bunch, just not actually not that much. It's just candy stuff. Then in the bridge, there's this guy, which is it's already got a bunch of stuff on it before this, but it's obviously got some more stuff on it. But I printed before this happened. There's just a bunch of delay and reverse things. So reverse vocal textures that happen amongst this.
Before you wouldn't recognize me, the me before you.
Then we've got some more doubles of just the main hook, you and I. Which probably sounds similar in the down section over here because it pulls out to just those at some point. But it just makes this part. Where's the lead vocal? Let me do that again. So this is the lead vocal.
You came along and This
is just to reinforce that.
You
and make it sound spacey. Then we have all these fun guys. This is just a plethora. These are all ran through this gang aux, which has some stuff on it, compression, EQ, another EQ, and that widening preset. But all of those sound like this. It's basically basic harmonies. So when you add all the vocals together in that chorus, there's actually less stacked vocals than I usually have. I'll show you a song at some point that has a ton of vocals.
You came along and I changed my ways. Now I am not the man I was before. I'm better than I was.
And that is pretty much the vibe on the vocals. Yeah, that's it. So once we're getting toward the end, now that I've showed you all the different tracks, you know that what all is in here. Things I haven't shown you is basically just this little guitar here. Everything else is the same. It just cuts out right here. Let me mute that guitar. So as it comes out of that bridge, the lick comes back in. And in order to get back into the groove, there's some swelly things to transition it back. So that felt cool, but still like it needed one more strange element. So I did these guitars. They're super overdriven. They're overdriven for this type of thing, but it works. And they pan. There it comes. And of course they cut out for the big drum fill. So with those in there, that's what it sounds like. Sounds like there's an extra guitar in there that hasn't been in there previously. Was that in there down here? Alright, so this guitar was doing diamonds in the second chorus. It's still doing diamonds. A little more movement than in the other ones. It's picking up a few extra notes. But then there's this guy. It only happens in the last chorus. Then they all hit together here at the end. There's another one of these guys. Pan to the right or the left because the other one's pan to the right. Then add that guy in there. Plus all the other stuff with the synths. And of course, everything cuts out at the end except for the word you. So it's all over by that point. That's pretty much it. That's better than I was. It's, in a way, it seems like a lot, maybe if you don't do a lot of recording and things, but it's really not that much. It doesn't have a whole lot going on comparatively to a lot of my other stuff. If you are a producer or engineer, don't make fun of my filthy session. Hope y'all enjoyed a behind the scenes look of this song. If you enjoyed it, please let me know, and let me know other songs that you would like to hear this done with, or any specific things that you saw in here that you would like to see elaborated on. Let me know and I'll show you. Thank y'all for watching. Appreciate y'all for real. Bye.